lush. It includes a multi-use path and a private path, a private trail actually, that will be maintained by the Banner folks. And the site plan that I failed to mention is that there is room for a future expansion to this building, but that is not part of this application. But you can also note that there's a tremendous setback from the property line on Mayo to the building, so there's a lot of buffering from the street. And another thing to point out is the landscaping along Mayo Boulevard is intended to be a coordinated effort between Banner and the ASM site to the west. And to that effect, Banner has been talking to the ASM folks, and what we're eventually going to have here is a consistent streetscape with consistent tree species and consistent ground cover. So that's something I wanted to point out. That effort is ongoing. Here are the building elevations. The building is basically 42 feet in height. There is a combination of masonry and stucco, and actually some block elements as well. And an interesting feature here, which I come calling a lantern feature, which I'll get into in just a moment. But the colors are good, warm colors, consistent with our guidelines. They look a little darker in these elevations, but I think when you see the material board, you'll see that they're a little lighter. And there's quite a bit of visual interest in terms of planar differentiation and building height differentiation. And again, here's the material board, so you can see these colors are actually quite warm, not very cold. There are some darker colors that'll be used as accent colors only, and high performance glass for all the windows. So here's that lantern feature I was talking about, a few perspectives for you to take a look at. This will be at the north end of the building facing the freeway where the main entrance is located. And one of the things I just wanted to point out, this graphic here on the right side of the slide shows that there will be some space between what is basically a window wall and the actual lantern feature, which is a metal, an etched metal kind of a feature, and there will be illumination associated with that. So this upper left graphic kind of shows you what it would look like at night or close to sunset. You can see the illumination is fairly subtle. The fixtures themselves are going to be concealed, so all you'll see is the glow. But it is an important feature of the building and one that you guys should be aware of. And then this elevation here is the south elevation facing Mayo Boulevard. That pretty much concludes my brief presentation. The applicant team has a plethora of folks here that can answer any questions you may have. I know the applicant does want to come up and say a few words. But I'll have a seat unless there are some immediate questions for me.
Okay. To the board members, are there any immediate questions? Mr. Mason?
I have a question, but I'll hold it till after the presentation.
Okay. Anyone online have any questions at this point?
This is Board Member Brand. I do not have any questions at the moment.
Hearing none?
This is Commissioner Scarborough. No questions at the moment.
Okay.
This is Donna Robinson. No questions.
All right. Thank you. Do we have any cards? Excuse me. I just wanted to ask the clerk. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we have presentation from the applicant.
Wonderful. I'm Troy Freeman, Vice President of Real Estate for Banner Health, and just maybe a quick 60-second overview, and we can get back to more of the technical details of this building. But first of all, I just want to thank the City of Scottsdale, from the council to management to staff to the DRB commissioners here today for taking the time to review this project. You know, this is a real estate project. We've got technical experts here in the room, but I think for us, what's really important is that this building aligns with our mission, which is making healthcare easier so life can be better. This building, at the end of the day, will bring a multitude of services, world-class services, and what we believe is a world-class building to serve the city of Scottsdale. As we sit today, we have 24 assets currently in and serving the city. This building, which is slated to include everything from your daily needs of urgent care and primary care to a multitude of specialties from Banner Medical Group, Banner University Medical Group, will also include lab, pharmacy, outpatient imaging, outpatient surgery, And to the lantern feature, where there may be some questions, is sort of a iconic feel to our banner, MD Anderson Comprehensive Cancer Care Services. So everything from your oncology imaging, LINAC, infusion, all provided in this facility. So we're very proud of this design of this facility, what it will bring to the city of Scottsdale. And again, supporting the other 24 assets, our digital connection to our patients. Again, we're very proud of what this will bring to the city of Scottsdale. We've got a whole technical team here today that can answer any additional questions. Thank you.
Do I have any questions from the board? Or is there any, first of all, before that, are there any other people who would like to speak for Banner Health regarding Banner? No, okay. Then, do I have any questions from board members regarding Banner Health and this application? Yes.
Mr. Board Member Mason, I had a question that I raised. I understand the message has been left, but I didn't get it. You know how busy we can get. It concerned the lantern feature, and as I looked at it, I quite liked the feature. But the question I had is it looked like it would be a nesting and roosting paradise. So my question was, how are you going to mitigate bird intrusion?
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Demmett with Gamage and Burnham, their Land Use Council. I've got Doug Nielsen with Smith Group, our architects, and Doug is going to be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah, thank you, DRB member Mason, for the question. Maintenance was top priority for the Banner team when discussing this item. The item was the piece was inspired by their campus out in Gilbert at the Gateway Medical Center, the MD Anderson facility there. But what we tried to do is kind of take the best from that project and recreate it here in Scottsdale. So when we're thinking about the maintenance access, the panel itself does sit 2 feet proud of the window, and that's the priority for that was to allow for maintenance to occur so that it wasn't sandwiched tight and no one could really get in to do the maintenance. The structure itself are angle type structures, so limited profile for nesting to occur, but the goal is to provide that area for maintenance to occur with catwalks to clean the windows, to make sure that this element looks like this in its continued operation and longevity of use.
Thank you. It sounds like you've addressed the problem. That was my question. It just it looked like it could be, and you obviously are aware of that, so have you set up maintenance planning? Very good.
Cody will be following up with me a lot if it turns into an issue, so it's been a top priority for our team to make sure that we have all the answers to the questions.
Well, I was sure that you probably would, because it's obviously a prominent feature. And I was just curious because I said, I could just vision flocks of birds flying in there and bats and everything. Yeah. So that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I had one other question.
Yes.
I had one other question on the south elevation that we had talked about, and I looked at the feature of the narrow windows, and you had some brown bands that were separating them. That looked up there. I think that would be on page 76, that one. Is it south elevation? Or no, the west elevation. I'm sorry, west elevation. That one. So the little brown bands up there across that, I was looking at that, and I said, that's a curious feature.
Yeah.
I saw a similar feature to that on the Illume building there at 101 in Scottsdale Road.
Okay.
Except that the bands, instead of being brownish, are a lighter color. Is that your intended to have this high contrast look?
It's also a legacy of some of Banner's other projects throughout the valley. The intent there is to have more of a horizontal system of windows to emphasize the horizon line. Their designs are really inspired kind of by the Sonoran Desert, and their branding is really driven by that. Mm-hmm. The introduction of the color is just to help break up long bands of the horizontal as well with some interests. What you have behind that is at times irregular program placement. So instead of blanket off with EFIS or just spandrel glass, the introduction of color is just to help to bring that element. It's a weathered Core 10 type material. It's not natural metal. It's a synthetic finish to match like a warm Core 10 that's really akin to tying to some of the desert textures and colors. So it was a way to bring that color across into multiple pieces of the elevations and not just have it focused in one area. So a little bit of contrast, a little bit of added richness to that elevation to help provoke some movement along that horizontal plane and respond to some of the internal organization of the building.
Okay, once you described it that way and you put the horizontal effect and the desert look, then you begin to look at it differently, or at least I did. It looks like you're looking out onto a desert, and saguaros, they're not in order, they're kind of random. You sort of have a random thing of things looking up like you're looking across a desert, and the saguaros are popping up here and there. So now that I like it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I concur. I like the contrast. I think it's good. For the members online, do you have any questions or comments regarding this? And I'll call you names if I can, just so that not everybody answers all at once. Donna Robinson, do you have any
No.
questions or comments?
No questions. I really like the project. I think it's well designed, and I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's finished.
Okay, thank you. Chair Brand, Vice Chair Brand?
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman. Real quick, I just wanted to say congrats to the team. I think after reviewing the site plan, building layout, elevations, I think the range of materials that the facility is using, and actually being able to go and tour the other location where similar features are done, I think this is the type of quality work that we really like to see in Scottsdale. So looking forward to this being built. Appreciate the texture you're creating with different materials to break up the massing and minimizing the size and mass of the building. I think this is, it appears to be a very successful project. So looking forward to it being built. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Scarborough?
Thank you, Councilman Littlefield. I do have a question for staff to start. Do we have any regulations in terms of the nighttime appearance of buildings? Where I'm going with this is, while I appreciate the project, I like the facades. I think during the daytime, this is a great facility. I just have never liked the multicolored illumination aspects of projects that come forward. And since this is a lantern feature, I would be supportive of something with white gradients, but not multicolor. And so I'm asking staff, is there anything in our code that restricts nighttime aesthetics?
Mr. Carr?
Yes, Councilwoman Littlefield, Commissioner Scarborough, there isn't anything in the city's code specifically that speaks to multicolor illumination at night. We do have some policies on that, and those policies are one of the reasons why we prefer the solution that the applicant is presenting presently, which is a single color and a more deliberate, distinct element of the building, rather than just, I guess, light washed across the building in random patterns. So this particular application of colored light is preferred in most situations, rather than just having multicolored light across the building. But to answer your question again, we do not have specific guidelines or requirements in our code that speak to that.
An aside, maybe that's something worth agendizing at some point in the future here, in the near term. For this project, could the applicant please speak to exactly the illumination effect that will take place at night and what citizens will expect to see from the freeway?
Thank you. Doug Nielsen again with Smith Group. The intent again, this lantern feature is not to have an ever-changing light effect. The color is really to help bring awareness to different cancer months. So let's say, I don't want to misspeak and say the wrong color for the wrong month, but October would have a presence of a certain color. The light fixture itself is internal to the building and dimmable and controllable. Early conversations with staff, it was important that those features were thought of just in case that there are community concerns of how the feature reads in the public. But it is not a feature that is intended to say, hey, look at me, in a way to draw negative attention to the building, more so bring awareness to the oncology program and be a beacon of hope, I guess, for those using the facility.
Thank you for that clarity. So in terms of the color that citizens would see, it would not be any kind of strobing or multicolors on a continual or rotating basis. It would be one solid color for a month.
That's correct. I don't, the time frame might not be exactly a month, but it's longer durations, singular color. And then the fact that it's multicolor changing is just to allow for different awarenesses to be created.
I appreciate that explanation. Thank you. Councilman Littlefield, that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And David Mason, did you have any comments, an additional?
No, I really like the project. I think it's very well thought out, very well done, and I think you were a refreshing look at that area.
Anyone else online who would like to speak? Okay. Just for myself, I'll say I like this project. I think it fits at its location well, and hopefully will be carried through as you continue on in your endeavors in this area. The colors are consistent. I like that. I like the lantern feature that can be turned on and off and used for different seasons and things like that. It kind of brings things to a homier or more local situation as opposed to a more sterile situation where it's just a standard building and that's what you get. Thank you very much. So I kind of like a little personalization of that. Not too much because you don't want to drive people away going, that's not the building. But I like that kind of art. To me, that's art, and I like that very much. Banner is a major health provider in this city, and I think this fits in the context of its location, and I like the design of it. It strikes me, and I am not an art person, so just let me make that very clear up front. It strikes me as usable, practical, and nice, a nice context and feel for the desert around it, and I like that very much. It shows a respect for that desert. So if there are any other comments or questions that anyone has, last call, then may I have a motion? Board members? If you want to make one, Mr. Mason?
I move to approve the agenda item DRB 6 DRB 2024 Banner Health Medical Building as presented.
I'll second that. Any additional comments before the vote? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Littlefield,
Yes.
Vice Chair Brand,
Yes.
Board Member Robinson,
Yes.
Board Member Mason,
Yes.
Commissioner Scarborough.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our agenda for today. Are there any other comments from staff? Questions? Then may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I think we are adjourned. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming today.